want to hear your story.
Wade Wilson, a criminal whose actions were so horrific that no one could have imagined them, carried out brutal crimes not only in the dark, but even attacked a woman in broad daylight, with no one around realizing what was happening. As if that wasn't enough, just hours before, he had mercilessly taken the lives of 2 innocent women. Things escalated even further when CCTV footage placed him at the crime scene, and shortly after, an emergency 911 call was made. In the urgent call, a man named Josh warned the police that danger was imminent. "He has a weapon," Josh reported, "and might be threatening someone right now." The police quickly mobilized, but unfortunately, Wade managed to slip away just as they were closing in. If they had been just a minute faster, he would have been caught. But Wade's speed and cleverness allowed him to escape once again. When he was finally apprehended, he remained calm and even attempted to chat with the officers, pretending like nothing was wrong. But his words couldn't conceal the horrific crimes he had committed.
The brutality of Wade Wilson's actions hits you like a gut punch. In broad daylight, he attacked a woman with no regard for who might see, and hours earlier, he'd taken 2 innocent lives. How does someone become this? The CCTV footage and that frantic 911 call show a man who thrived on chaos, slipping through the cracks of justice time and again. It's chilling to think how close he came to escaping.
Moments when a criminal seems untouchable, justice can still prevail.
How you doing? What's going on, man? You're waiting on your girlfriend? Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm gonna detain you until I figure out what exactly is going on. Wait, you don't want any trouble from me because you're on probation, okay? Okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I'm going to have you step out of the car, and I'm going to detain you. Not arrest. Detain you right now, okay? And I can't have any problems. You understand me? Let me see the keys to the car. Let me see the keys to the car. Keys. Keys. Wait, we're not going to have any problems. Just give me the keys to the car. L41, gonna need a couple more units. Don't go anywhere. Hey.
It was just like a very toxic relationship, but he was never violent, ever. So I got back in the car and put my seatbelt on, and that's when he started choking me. At some point, he had bit my face.
Wade was determined to meet his girlfriend, Melissa, known to many as Mila. She agreed but suggested meeting at a parking lot near her spa. On the surface, it seemed like an ordinary encounter, but beneath it, a storm was brewing. Just a day before, a serious incident had erupted between them, one that Melissa would now recount in her own words. "Hello, Melissa. I'm Detective Alex Mino from the K-Corps Police Department," he began, his voice calm but sharp. "I'm going to ask you some questions." "All right," Melissa replied, a hint of tension in her eyes. "How do you know Wade? How long have you two been together?" "We've been dating for about 6 months," she said. 6 months. And during that time, he was incarcerated for 3.5 months in Lee County, Melissa interjected, her voice trembling slightly. "He assaulted me, and I had him arrested. I later decided to drop the charges, but he still had another offense in West Palm, a second-degree felony for theft. When he was released, he violated his probation terms. Once released, Wade remained on probation in Marathon. Melissa stayed by his side, carefully watching his behavior. However, it quickly became clear that Wade hadn't changed. He sank back into drugs, recklessly spiraling out of control. Melissa's instincts told her that his violent tendencies were only dormant, like a fire smoldering beneath ashes. The night before, they visited a club called Buddha. Melissa's unease grew as Wade suggested going to a drug house. She refused to follow. To her surprise, Wade had someone else drive her car, leaving her stranded. Luckily, her friend Amy arrived just in time, offering Melissa a way out. Throughout the night, Melissa's phone buzzed incessantly. Wade's furious calls and messages never stopped. The following morning, Melissa agreed to meet Wade at her spa, knowing she couldn't face him alone. Amy accompanied her, ready in case things escalated. When Wade arrived, he was no longer the sweet-talking boyfriend. His eyes were wild, his demeanor dangerous. He grabbed her forcefully, pressing her against the glass. Melissa struggled and screamed for Amy, but fear had...
Hearing Melissa's trembling voice, you can feel her fear. She survived a nightmare 6 hours of torture, and then this assault at her spa. Her courage to keep going, to fight back, is nothing short of heroic, but it's infuriating to know. Wade was on probation, free to hurt again. The system failed her, and it failed Christine and Diane. How many warning signs were missed before it came to this?
Suspicion growing in the eyes of my listener. My story started to crumble. Maybe because I forgot a small detail, that on that night I left with Christine and the drug supplier, leaving Melissa behind because she objected. Yet I kept telling the story, as if trying to hide something darker, deeper. Every word was tinged with anxiety, my hands moving restlessly. When asked about the bloodstain, I dodged the question, but there were people who saw it, and their accounts were haunting. A story I could not deny, no matter how the lies kept rising in my throat, choking me like darkness closing in around me.
You're telling me. I'm not saying accurate. I don't know why I'm here. Please tell me, then let's talk.
So you
tell me everything.
I'm trying to have a conversation with you.
We're doing good. You're doing good.
So you left in a black Honda that was registered to a female, right?
No, I'm not sure.
Yeah, you left in a black Honda.
I did.
Okay. How did you get that Honda? Did it belong to you?
Keep going first. There's more, I feel, and then we can talk. You're doing all right, but I feel like you should just tell me. I'm listening.
Did you call your dad and tell him you did something tonight?
No.
No.
I haven't even got to call him. I was
Hungry.
you're hungry?
Did you? I'm sorry. I haven't eaten yet today. Did you go up to... I'm sorry if I get this wrong.
You're going to get it right. I'm going to correct you because I know where you're going.
To the tow truck company tonight? I don't know the name of it.
Tow truck. Oh, you're talking about Mateo?
Mateo. Were you there tonight?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Tonight, no.
Well, yesterday.
Sometime.
It was yesterday. Because now it's on a different day.
He's an old business associate of mine.
Okay.
Don't trust him.
Okay.
You don't have to. Anybody can say anything.
Okay.
He's slamming.
So, but you showed up in that.
He's fat.
I don't know, I've never met him.
Yeah.
You showed up in that Honda. Great.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, I'm putting pieces together because I've been all over the place today. At some point...
Am I being charged with anything?
Well...
Tell me what it is.
Possibly burglary because you broke into a house.
Tell me everything I'm being charged with, and I'll talk to you straightforward.
Honestly, I don't know exactly what all your charges are going to be. That's why we're having a conversation.
Okay.
I mean, and that's honest. That's the honest truth.
Cool, because I don't know. Yeah, cool.
Okay.
Let's talk.
Fort Myers has their own charges on you, is my understanding.
Do they?
That's my understanding.
For what?
For the battery on your girlfriend.
Great.
That's my understanding.
Great.
I don't know because I don't work for Fort Myers.
Okay.
Okay.
Like just different stuff. So
As soon as Wade grabbed Melissa, she struggled to break free. In the chaos, her clothes began to come off, leaving her exposed and vulnerable under his wild gaze. Realizing he was losing control of the situation, Wade panicked, opening the car door but forgetting to put it in park, causing the vehicle to roll toward them. The ground beneath them was no longer a place for struggle. It was now a battlefield. Wade lunged at Melissa, forcing her down onto the cold, rough pavement. Pain shot through her as she felt the weight of his body pinning her down, his shouts echoing with threats to end her life then and there. But for Melissa, it wasn't just empty words. She had survived his violence before. Bound, choked, and brutalized for 6 torturous hours. She knew that if she ended up in the car again, it might be the end. Summoning every ounce of strength, Melissa fought to make her way toward the spa, hoping it would offer a shred of safety. Her friend Amy screamed from a distance, begging her not to enter the building, fearing it could make things worse. But Wade wasn't about to let her go. He dragged her back, step by step, before delivering a powerful punch to her face. The pain was searing, but it gave Melissa a small chance, one she seized with everything she had. Using the moment of impact, she twisted free, slipped from his grip, and sprinted toward a nearby business, finding a sliver of refuge. Wade, enraged, jumped back into the car and sped off, leaving nothing but chaos in his wake. Melissa knew it wasn't an irrational fear. If she had gotten...
Melissa's escape was a miracle, but it shouldn't have come to that. Wade's violence wasn't a one-off. It was a pattern. The rumors about Christine's death, the sandals in the current, all points to a predator who didn't just act on impulse but planned his cruelty. Knowing he could charm his way through interrogations makes it even more unsettling. How do we stop someone who hides their darkness so well?
See the evidence. This is just an attempt to paint me as the villain. In the end, Wade confessed that after leaving the drug supplier's house, he went back to Christine's. When she was asleep and completely vulnerable, he strangled her until she died. He tried to put her body in the trunk of her car, but couldn't, and eventually fled the scene.
About anybody.
Mm-hmm. So that's what we're talking about. Okay.
No, that's not what we're talking
Well,
about.
that's what I'm here to talk about.
Because I know nothing of that.
Okay.
It's unfortunate for anybody. And I'm sorry to hear that.
Okay. So you don't know anything
But
about
you
it yet?
and I are not talking about something that I don't have knowledge of.
Okay.
He had time to carefully select his words, but when a male detective entered the room, his confidence began to waver. Under the pressure of a stronger presence, the mask of composure he wore started to crack. Detective Bell announced that they would be conducting a DNA collection and photographing evidence, making the atmosphere in the room even heavier. When asked about the time he left her house with the car, Wade responded vaguely, "I don't remember. Maybe it was dark." His uncertain answers only fueled the detective's suspicion. When the more serious charges were mentioned, Wade's expression hardened. At that moment, it was as if reality crashed down on him. Wade realized his days of freedom were over. His composure shattered, replaced by anger and bitterness. He began arguing, shifting blame to everyone around him, and challenging them to find evidence. If you've got proof, then show it. But the more he denied, the more his anger showed. He couldn't hide who he truly was as the truth came to light. His victims, including Christine and Diane, became the heartbreaking witnesses to his darkness. Diane, a single mother, was lured into his car under the guise of needing help, only to never make it home again. Her tragic end stood as a chilling testament to his cruelty. Wade was sentenced to death, and with that sentence, the disturbing stories romanticizing him across social media became even more troubling. Should we continue to glorify and empathize with individuals like this?
Wade's death sentence feels like justice, but it doesn't erase the pain. Diane, a single mother, and Christine, vulnerable in her sleep, deserved better. Their stories remind us of the human cost of violence. And yet some romanticize Wade. Online, turning a monster into a myth. We need to ask ourselves, why do we glorify these figures? Their victims' voices should be the ones we amplify, not his.